Cut short my story, the days here in Ashram, like any Ashram boy with physical education, 7 days or let's say 365 days a week, group activities, that's the physical education, then so-called mental education with the school. In those days, the free progress, not exactly the same concept of free progress school as today it's running, but it was by itself a free progress because we were in different classes. I was in class 7 or 8 or 9 in mathematics science, whereas in English I was in class 3, in geography, in class 5 and things like that. So it was amazing in comparison to the schools outside Pondicherry. But the true free progress was what I would say, and especially being in France, the country where on all schools, on all buildings, it's written liberté, égalité, fraternité, liberty, equality, and fraternity, these 3 words that say. So the true things what I learned from here is that concept of liberty, and that is what I would call it, the concept of free progress, that when within yourself you feel free. At the same time, the omnipresent contact not only with each and every teacher and other students, as you know here, that everybody knows everyone and everybody calls the other person by their just first name without adding ji or da or bhai or anything. In fact, there was one teacher, his name, later on people would call him Shanti Da or Shanti Bhai. But the first days I didn't even know. And somebody said, call Shanti. He must be there upstairs. And one or two of them, they started shouting, Shanti, Shanti. And I didn't know, as a young boy, I said, should I say Shanti Bhai, Shanti Ben, Shanti Da, Shanti Di, what is it? So then, so I just said, also shouted Shanti, Shanti, like that. But so, and Nalini Da, who was Ashram's secretary, who had the great chance of being with Sri Aurobindo right from Bengal, and he would be called on the mic, Nalini, and then he would just stand up from his place and come towards the mother or come to take some things. So this closeness of removing all the first barriers of so-called, then of course now it seems so natural and normal, but the older ladies of that time, in 50s, they told me, because they were all used to have their saris and things, and so when they had to put on shorts and shirts and kitty cap and things like that. So tremendous change, physical change, but an emotional change was of utmost level. And the presence of the mother was everywhere, right from the balcony darshan till late in the evening. And but for me, my true work, when I think, it started even after when I finished my studies and when I went to Nargol to work with my father. Now, to work with my father, that was a sentence which I didn't like at all. Yeah, because it was in 1968. I had finished my studies in 66, 67, but I was staying in Ashram in different departments and things like that. And Auroville was just building up slowly. Of course, I was even taking charge of the Goel's guest house, that was called Group Guest House, and taking care of Roger and the big architects who would come for Auroville. They would discuss. And I was surprised that the mother gave me that work, and the first work they asked me was to accompany the cook of that to go to the fish market, and then he was to choose the fish. Being a staunch vegetarian and having had all the meals only in ashram dining room, not even going to any biggest outing was to the cottage restaurant, So going straight, visiting the fish market was a great shock to me. But then I thought that perhaps that is also sort of the mother's learning. And the next day the mother sent in the writing that it is good, c'est bien que tu te baignes dans cette atmosphere, you are just bathing in this sort of atmosphere. And then she would even send the recipe of some dishes whom should be given this sort of food, how it should be cooked, then how the plates have to be put, where the fork has to be put, where the knife has to be kept, where the... So in fact, we are used to have that small spoon, dining room, and a big bowls, and eating like that means one thing would be. But then that refinement of food, and with the mother's writing, that amazed me. It was so curious for me. But then I thought that, that is also, I accepted the mother's ways and learned that, but never knew at that time that this is going to be a true help for me when I'll be sitting with certain number of ambassadors on some chief of the nations, then what sort of etiquette one needs to have. That was a sort of physical preparation, and then a sort of different preparation came when I was running with my father the Nargol school. There was nothing. In fact, it was a barren land, and it all started that people wanted to consult some architects, and big architects came from Bombay and other places, and a big project plans were done. And lot of costs. And finally, I told my father that I don't agree with this. On the seashore, building up a huge 3-storied building of school. It's so beautiful, this Nargol beach in Gujarat. We are just seeing the trees and waves of the sea. Why should we hide our students from that beauty of nature? Then I suggested, why not build small cottages without windows or without doors, and the weather is good, students can look at. Then they said, oh, they'll be just looking out all the time. I said, doesn't matter. But that's how then I started building classes. On each hilltops, put up a small classroom. Students themselves made a beautiful garden around each classroom. And what was for me very interesting, that each thing which I did there, I either took photographs or some plans, and I would come down here to Ashram, I'll show these things to the mother. She will discuss with me either like an expert in architecture or an expert in this. Then sometimes she will change her mood and she will just talk to me like one's own mother. How are you feeling? You are all right? Tout va bien pour toi? People are not treating you badly there. Then even a sentence comes out from my mouth that, yeah, there are people who are criticizing this. Then she would say, oh, you need to learn that too. But so again, for till 73, that contact, physical contact with the mother was so intimate. And of course, after 73, I felt myself a little. Luckily, in fact, I was to go to, in the month of November, to France. And my passport was stolen on my way to Delhi. And then I said what to do. It was 11th, 12th of November. And then I just sent a telegram to my father. I said, all what was my material papers and things and money and things, everything is stolen. So I do not know what to do. So I've asked my cousin who was in Delhi to lend me some money and buy me one ticket for Pondicherry. So I'm going to Pondicherry. Yes. So, and luckily it was, I think, mother, as if she had called me back. And on 17th of November 73, she left her body. And Dr. Satyendra, he was there, just standing in front of the ground, very serious. It was a Saturday and people were going for the film. So I stopped in front of him because he seemed very serious. Then I said, Saturbai, something has happened, serious. Then he looked at me. Then first he was on the point of telling me something. Then he said, no, nothing. No, there was a presence. And he said that Ram came to him and said that there will be a great transformation and be prepared. So that's all he told me. And then after a few hours I knew that the mother had left her body. Well, after that I was in Paris and France, did some work with UNESCO in the creative education, and INSIA, International Society for Education Through Art. That was the NGO through which I worked. I met many interesting people coming from all over the world. Then sometimes what I felt, that in the education sector also, and especially those who are making decisions in education, either at the state level or a nation's level or an international level, they do not have enough depth, they do not want to go in some true, real thinking. And how could that come? So then I found in my mind that the only thing is they need to go, I would not say for a spiritual path, I would not even say that they should practice this yoga or that yoga or jnana yoga or karma yoga or bhakti yoga. But need is that of going within, and that can come certainly with the practice of yoga. And that's why, and what Western world knew of yoga was just physical asanas. So I took up that challenge. Why not make the practice of asanas? And then reading Sri Aurobindo, when I saw that Sri Aurobindo himself had developed tremendous memory power, photographic memory, through practice of breathing practices of Anulom, Vilom and other. So that I tried to introduce in UNESCO and other places. At the same time, what I saw that in the Western world, asanas had come with the name of yoga. At the same time, the thoughts of Ramakrishna and Vivekananda were quite powerful, and people knew. Sri Aurobindo's books had been, and the mother's books had been translated, but a very few elite would read that, and 90% of the people, they found Sri Aurobindo's English extremely difficult, and the translation at present now I'm much more at ease with French and with the friends in France. I would say Jean Herbert was a brilliant person, but his translation of Sri Aurobindo made still more difficult to understand, even in French. So, and especially comparing to what Mother had translated Sri Aurobindo. So when we saw these two things, and of course, the thoughts of Sri Aurobindo, I would say no other than the Mother herself could put to us in a very simple way. Well, but on the international level, it had a different aspect, it was a different color and different sort of attitudes one needs to have. You just can't say. Here it was very easy that Mother wants this, so I do it. Even your boss, even Pradeep Ji says something, but if you have had the chance of meeting the Mother, you would say, no, Mother has told me. So Pradeep Ji might be top person in Sri Aurobindo but it is ruled out in a way. Completely. Oh, sorry. So we were in that sort of habit over here, but there, this Mother has said that part would not work, and so one needs to convince, and that convincing doesn't come, what I learned, just by intellectual arguments. Of course, intellectual arguments do help you, but it comes more by winning the heart of the person and then making the person feel the experience of it, that what you want to say, what you want to achieve has some vibrating higher meaning to it. And I used to feel, in fact, that in a meeting like this, for example, when we are sitting and discussing, and then especially in those days in apartheid period of South Africa, which was, people would say that there should not be this, and at the same time all the big countries like France, England, Canada, America, they would like to continue. Even in a meeting, they would just before entering the hall, the French and the English representatives of UNESCO, they would say, "Oh, Mr. Vyas, I know that you are going to speak about South Africa. Now, Mr. Gandhi left South Africa long ago. Why are you still lingering with him about South Africa?" And they said that, "Oh, go inside, we are going to drink a cup of tea or coffee and pass your resolution against the apartheid. And then we'll enter after a few minutes so that our country's vote will not be counted, neither yes nor no, just an absent person. So at least we have not contradicted our own nation." That was also quite interesting for me to learn such a thing. But this way, I thought that Ayurveda, which is not at all known to France and Europe, it should be introduced. And that is how slowly I went into that. Of course, I had a good background of some big Vaidyas from Gujarat with whom I had learned. And I even invited them, Dr. Shantaram Vaidya, who was Sri Aurobindo's Vaidya. The last 10-15 years, Mother used to consult him, and then I asked him to come and stay with me for 3-4 months, would come back. And similarly, those who were of the Jamnagar Ayurveda University, the founders, so I had a great chance to learn more from them, and at the same time, so wrote about 10-15 books on yoga, on Ayurveda, and what was the secret was the mother's secret, that work and work. Even when you take rest, you work. Work is your prayer, work is your meditation, and that is the way I devoted myself in France and Europe and from many countries all over the world. But whenever I had some time, a few minutes or few hours or even a few days, I would fly back to Pondicherry. And you are also lucky to be here all the time. What great opportunities you are having. And thanks each and every one of you. When I met her at Rishikesh, I was really touched that she's over here, and the work what she has taken up is of great importance, and what Sri Aurobindo Society is doing since its beginning. It was 61, no? It was 60, yes, 60, yeah. In 1960, when Navjot Ji started, they had a good discussion with my father, and I remember they were both sitting in that reception room of our ashram as soon as you enter. And because in 61, our school in Gujarat started, and at that time also I had arranged a meeting with the mother and the important people of Ashram. So, thank you very much. I'm sorry I took a bit time, but I wanted more to answer your questions, but I don't know whether we have any time left.
No, I think we have some time. So, if anybody would like to just ask anything, please.
You started a magazine with the mother, asked you to start with Ravida, and
Oh, yes.
she gave you a message that was wonderful to share.
Yes. Luckily, in those days, we were very close to our teachers and with the mother, and so it was, I don't remember the year, but then Ravi, me, and Hema, we were, I don't know, self-chosen or chosen by Amita Di and some of the old teachers, and we had a chat. So, school magazine or Ashram school magazine should be done. And so, in fact, I was thinking a lot, and I just, without even asking my friends, I wrote a letter to the mother that we are thinking of doing this. Qu'en penses-tu? What do you think? That should we really do it, or it is just a mental idea or conception of somebody else? Because I didn't want to go if that was not the mother's own vision of it. And so she said, yes, you should do it. Then I had written to her that from the old ruts, the ornière of the past, and we would like to do something new, something where we can go towards a luminous future. And I had asked her if she could give the name to that magazine. So she wrote down to me, Vers l'avenir, towards the future. So I was very happy to be the editor of that magazine for a few years with Ravi mainly, and Ravi, his teacher over here, and even in those days we appreciated his powerful English, and I think now he's editing Mother India, no? It's just because even with K.D. Shetna we had our classes with him, and so I'm very happy that Ravi took up the path following that magazine.
Tell me with K.D. Shetna, the kind of humor you used to have.
Oh God, the first humor, as soon as we decided to have, some of us, Promise, Swadesh, myself, Kiran Puttar, and we were 5 or 6 in the beginning, and I had already written to the mother that we would like to have K.D. Shetna as our English teacher, because he was not on the school list, and Kirit Bhai had reorganized the school in such a beautiful so-called Cartesian manner, everything straight, square, things like that. So naturally, K.D. Shetna had no place to come in, and so then I asked the mother, but we would like to learn English from him, because if Sri Aurobindo used to send his poems and ask his views on it, how could it be? So the first thing what happened, the school's the authorities said that, at present that 4th period, we don't have any classroom free for him. So in the school there is no place. But then, entre parenthèses, means in the bracket, the problem would be that K.D. Shetna's students would be laughing too much, so it would disturb the other members of the school. So I don't think we can have it. So in fact, because of this, it was almost wiped away, the whole idea. Then K.D. Shetna said, I'm sorry, I have problem for coming and this, because I have to come in a rickshaw, because he had difficulties of walking and other things. So then we just discussed among ourselves. I said, but we can come to your place. And then he said, yeah, you can come sit with me in his small drawing room. We were 7 or 8 persons in the beginning. So we would just cycle down to his place and sit, and then he would take up any text, first one sentence, but then it went on chatting about, especially with sort of Sri Aurobindo's humor or how he would say. And then the first time he had told us this story of Pavitrada, of that Pavitrada was a French person, and so naturally he wanted to be brotherly with all the other sadhaks, but with the French pronunciation. I told this story, no? So he would tell the other sadhaks that I want to be a bother to you, French pronunciation. So all the others say, no, you are no bother at all to us. So all the sadhaks would say, and Pavitrada was very hurt that nobody wants to have him as. And then the second one, Pavitrada had written a letter to the carpentry section because his table was not moving, so he wanted to put something under the table. So for here, he must have translated from French. All of you understand French? Or doesn't matter, I'll translate for you. For under means it is sous, and tanir means to stand. The table should be stable. I want to put something from the carpet. So he said, to understand my table, I want help from the carpentry section. So they all laughed at him that he's doing sadhana, that is good, but why does he want to understand the table? Now, Felicitate's things, then we went immediately, which is not recorded anywhere. His journeys beyond in the inner world. In fact, I had asked him that how come. In fact, this is lameness of the. It came as an attack. This is what I recollect in my mind. But as the true facts, I don't know if you find somewhere written, you will please show me. But he told us that he had a habit of going in the meditation, leave his body, and travel in the vital world, this, that. And so once he was attacked in that vital world, and when he came back in his physical body, then finally he was. So the true reason of his body problem had come from that sort of.
Since that time, the legs.
Yeah. And then naturally, Felicitated also had the experience of the descent of supramental. He was in the train, and then.
But Sri Aurobindo said that he has taken a wrong drug. That's
Sorry.
why.
Yeah.
Somewhere he said that that leg problem that he
Yes.
had was because he had taken the wrong medicine, and he joked about it.
Yeah. I mean to say, of course, on the physical plane,
That's what
the explanation is what you are saying, and then it's true that Niruddha, Kedishetna, they would be all writing, sending their notebooks to Sri Aurobindo. They will get back the reply, and he showed me at least about 3, 5, 7 versions of Savitri. What was the first version? Then Kedishetna had suggested something. Then Sri Aurobindo again. Then again Sri Aurobindo would say that this has not come from the highest of the planes and things like that. I'm sorry, I don't remember some in those days, but each and every incident with Kelly Shetna was a real experience.
Something very, very interesting what Kelly says. No? There was this lady in Singapore,
Yes.
who was the president of Singapore.
Devan Nair.
Devan Nair.
Devan was the president of Singapore.
Yes.
She was the president of the Singapore branch of Sri Aurobindo Society, the English lady. She was corresponding with Kelly. I'm talking about his humor now.
Yes.
It's not humor. So he was by one leg, by then, one leg had gone. Then he had an accident and the second leg went. So she wrote a very sad letter to him that you know, both legs are gone now. How will you walk? What will you do? Etc. etc. Expressing a lot of anguish. So I wrote back saying, madam, it's all right, now at least I won't kick the bucket.
Yes. Exactly. I know. It's true.
Fantastic humor. That fantastic humor.
And I remember that. And in fact, that was the day I learned the expression kicking the bucket means dying. Because I didn't even know that to kick the bucket meant that.
Lucky man.
Yeah, he was.
And then they wrote the humor. It's really
Yes, that's.
absolutely amazing. You must be doing a lot of tales about that.
In fact, for me, speaking about free progress was especially the great chance to meet the great artists, great authors, and for example, Sananda was our history teacher, world history teacher, and as I learned that he had come with Nehruji to be the governor of Pondicherry, but then instead of joining that work, he sent a letter to Nehru saying that no, he is becoming a sadhak over here, and that the same Sananda then. Once I was with my students, was going to Goa. So I just told him that I'm going to Goa with some of my students. Then he said, oh, just wait. My younger brother is the governor of Goa. So you just tell him, write to him. And I did write to him, and Sananda's younger brother as a governor, he received all of my Nargol students and me in that beautiful Governor Bungalow.
Massive, beautiful.
Beautiful on the top of the hill.
Saladar's.
Yes.
Saladar's one-day visit to Goa to receive him for a day, not even full 24 hours. They built that huge thing, which is now the governor's thing. I think it's the most beautiful governor's mansion anywhere in India.
Yes.
And for one day they built it for Saladar.
So, merci beaucoup. Thank you very much. But you didn't put any questions yet. But I think the time is.
No, I mean, I'm just impressed with one phrase that has stuck in my mind. You used two words together, beautiful Cartesian. Why, I could never imagine, but I guess that's the organization. Yes. Beautiful Cartesian organization of the school. Yes. Because Cartesian is otherwise so rigid, yes. But yeah.
This is what you said by Kirit Vyas Ji.
Yeah. If there's any more question or thing, any other anecdote that you would like him to share, or
I'm sorry, it was not a prepared speech,
No, that's why we didn't give you a topic. We just wanted to, see how you would share your journey. It's so beautiful to just, because it's very personal and certain things that are not there, as you said, in the books.
Yes.
So those are the things, those are the gems, those are the stories we'll keep. So.
No, in fact, I have decided that I will not speak much more about my life. That was the decision I had taken a few years ago, rather 30, 40 years ago, till I become little aged. And finally, my friends found that I was not getting aged at all. So then I said that, when I'll be 80. But I'm not yet 80, just a few days less than 80 years. But I've started now telling about myself.
But in telling about yourself, you told about so much other things, So those are...
That's the inner feeling that if this helps you, or this makes you, a little bit of joy in you, or a little bit of inspiration, that would be, purpose would be served. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.